Hello, it is 7 o'clock, almost few more seconds. If you're on here tonight, welcome to Empowerment Moment with Dr. G. I am so super excited to have you join me tonight. It is Thursday, March 24th. Can you believe it, y'all? We're in spring. It is a change in season, and I am super excited about that. I don't know about you, but I like winter, but I love spring even more. Why? Because you get to do walks outside. You don't have to wear these heavy duty coats. And actually, this year we were really blessed. We didn't have too many snowstorms in the winter, but I'm so excited that I'll get to do my walks again. I've not been as diligent about doing my exercise as I should. But nevertheless, I'm very excited. I'm on here tonight because last month by this time, I was dealing with some emergencies, and thankfully, everybody's fine. So if we missed a step, that's because I started to come on there and we had to go to the emergency room. But thankfully, this is for my son, Nick. Thankfully, he's well and he's fine. So I'm always so grateful to be able to share good news. So I just say welcome to the Empowerment Moment. And I will say that this particular topic is one where, because of what's happening in the world around us, I feel that this may be pertinent to some people because I personally have been going through one thing or the other. And there are two scriptures, as many of you know, or if you don't know, I'm a woman of faith and I get my strength and my resiliency and my pressing in from my faith and my belief in Jesus Christ, who's my Lord and Savior. And it is the impetus that keeps me going. And so sometimes people see me and they're like, oh, are you superhuman? Absolutely not. I am here to announce that that strength comes from something bigger than me. So in this past few weeks, I've had to really go in deeper and press in for the strength that I need. And the two particular scriptures that have encouraged me, and I want to use that as a bit of it to share with everyone tonight. So if you're watching us on Facebook, do share. If you catch this later, that's great. I'm happy about that. And it's just really a privilege and an honor to kind of just share some of the things that I'm processing and thinking about and praying about and using as a source of encouragement for me and the families that we serve. If you're new to my goal is just to support families facing autism and other intellectual disabilities throughout their lifespan. Started in 2008. As just a journey to really connect to other families who have received a diagnosis that they are not that excited about, or dealing with a child that needs extra attention. And so tonight I am reflecting on my journey and reflecting on that of my family. And while I'm reflecting on that, I'm thinking about some of the challenges others may be going through. And it reminds me again and again why this organization was started in 2008. Believe it or not, we're in our 14th year. And I look back and I'm like, wow, how quick time flies. But I'm just super excited because in everything, we're supposed to say thank you. It doesn't matter how hard things are, you find a reason to say thank you. Thank you to that person who held the door for you. Thank you to that person who let you in when you almost miss your exit. You know, yeah, have you ever done that? Like turn on your turn signal and somebody actually lets you in. I live in New Jersey, and the joke is that if you put on your turn signal, chances are you really will not get in. So some of us have learned the art. At the very last moment, you time the person who's getting ready to, who stopped, and then you time it, turn on your signal, and get in right away. I had no accident, thank God, in doing so, because you do it respectfully, right? But at any point, I digress to say that I'm thankful to that person who lets me in, even when I turn my turn signal way ahead. We're in a season of a big transition, and transition can be very difficult. Even if you expect it, sometimes it's easy, some things are not. So even if you think about babies born and then they become toddlers and then they become little children and then they're in elementary school, then they go to middle school, then they go to high school, and then they go to college and then they leave you. I'm in that season right now, transition, where my older one is slowly, I'm watching her just take off. And I'm like, wow, okay. I'm slowly beginning to become an empty nest. And I didn't think I thought it was going to be easier than I expected. I thought that, oh, wow, we'll be able to just do whatever we want, travel. And so my hat's out to all the parents who are ahead of me, who were able to allow their kids to grow and have wings and fly off. My hat goes out to you. My, my older daughter says you can't get so that's like you can't get rid of me that quickly. I guess I'm putting it on blast so people know that there is that transition coming and I'm adjusting to it mentally. The other transition is that my son next turns 21, and in the world of special ed, you are done at 21. So it's a major milestone for us. There are things that are in the pipeline that we're working on for him, but it's not all finalized. And when they do, we'll share it here. But the point here is that transition is not always easy, even when you know it's coming, right? So I was thinking about that and I was like, okay, what does the Webster dictionary define transition as? And it defines it as it's as a process or a period changing from one state or condition to another. And depending on what stage of life you're in, that transition could be easy if you prepare for it. And then sometimes, no matter how much preparation, it's hard. Especially, I can imagine that this COVID pandemic taught us a lot, right? It taught us that no matter how ready you think you are, sometimes some things take you by surprise. And then all of a sudden, you're just like, wow, I didn't expect that. Or even when you didn't expect how hard it's going to be. And truthfully, I'm in that season right now where I'm watching my kids grow and I'm just like, wow, I can't just, control everything the way I want to. If you know me, you know that I like things to be structured and systematic and plan A, B, Z. I had plan A, B, C, D, E. But on this journey that I've been for the past, wow, Nick is 20, almost 21. So the past 18 plus years, I have learned that no matter how best you plan, you're just going to have to be flexible and be open to change. Sometimes it just takes us a little bit of adjustment to say, this is not what I expected. This is not what I thought it would be, but I'm just going to trust the Almighty God anyway. So that's where I am right now. So I'm in that place where I'm having to learn new things, adjust to what's happening around me, embrace that I don't always know it, be willing to accept help from others, and being able to say, I don't know it. Can you please teach me? And that's the season I'm in right now. And I'm just being transparent with everybody that's listening. And so because of that, I have been really being intentional about, spending time reflecting and meditating on the things that gives me strength. And today's empowerment moment, I titled it Hidden in the Strength of God and Guarded by His Peace. Hidden in the strength and guarded by His peace. So guarded because I read it in the text and a particular text, and it was really encouraging to me. And then hidden in the strength of God means that my strength is not on my own, it's insufficient to carry me through the season that I'm in. So I need the strength of God. And I was meditating on this scripture, which many of us know because, or some of us may or may not know, is Psalm 91. And Psalm 91, I'm going to read a particular text and a version that I read, and it just encouraged me and it just inspired me. And that's why I want to share that here. And it says, and I'm reading the amplified version of it, right? So there's many different translations. And the amplified is usually like how you amplify the text. That amplified says, he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall remain stable and fixed under the shadow of the Almighty, whose power no foe can withstand. The person who stays in the secret place of the Most High, that is the God Almighty, will remain stable and fixed under the shadow of the Almighty. In that place, no foe can withstand. Good evening, Ronka. Thank you for joining me inside the room. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I lean and rely, and in Him I confidently trust. So the psalmist or the writer was saying, in the secret place of the Most High, who I put my trust in Him I remain stable and I remain fixed, so that nothing moves me. Even transition and the unknown of the future does not scare me, because my confidence is in Him. He's my refuge. He's my protector. He's everything. So that's the Amplified version. Now, when I went to read another translation, it's called the Passion Translation, and it's usually like a cliff note portion of scriptures, what some of us call it, because it summarizes. And it says, when you abide under the shadow of the Shaddai, which is God Almighty, you are hidden. You are hidden, Hidden, in the strength of God Most High. So one was saying that you remain stable and fixed. Another version says you are hidden in the strength of the Most High. He is the hope that holds you. He is the hope that holds me, and the stronghold to shelter me. And the only God for me, my great confidence. So think about it. In the midst of this transition I'm talking about, where there's so much uncertainty about the future, there's a tendency to be fearful and not sure, and yet and feeling weak about the future and feeling overwhelmed. I can't tell you how many people I'm talking to, programs I'm speaking to, and it can get very overwhelming quickly. And sometimes when you get overwhelmed with too many choices and not sure and not understanding, you can shut down, right? And this is where we can get weak. But here is saying, when I abide, or when I dwell, or when I depend, or when I fix, or when I focus on God, He becomes He hides me in His strength. He holds me. He upholds me as a shelter. And He's the only God for me, my great confidence. So as I said earlier, I titled this Hidden in the Strength of God and Guarded by His Peace. So the hidden part is like, well, how does He hide me exactly in His strength? And if you continue on that same text in 91, reading from the Passion Translation, verse 3 says, He will rescue you from every hidden trap of the enemy. Sometimes it feels like there may be people who don't understand us, or who are not supportive, and who are not really doing the things they need to do. Or sometimes they just want to say no when they know we deserve to have that service for our child, right? So He said He will rescue you from every hidden trap of the enemy, and He will protect you from false accusation and any deadly curse. His massive arms are wrapped around you, protecting you. You can run under His covering of majesty and hide. And His arms of faithfulness are a shield keeping you from harm. So let's think about that for a minute. When you're feeling overwhelmed and weak, sometimes what you need is what? A hug. And here we're hearing that His massive arms are wrapped around us. Not just that, protecting us. Now, mind you, if you read the same text in the New Living Translation or NIV or New International, it tells you that He protects, He shields, He covers. And many of us are thinking about that in a season of war, right? You're thinking about that for those who are in an environment where they could be in harm's way. And if you're a parent and you're concerned about your child going off to college, or your special needs one that needs to go off to school, you're worried about what's going to happen to them. But today I'm reminding you that God says his arms is around them. He's protecting them. And under his covering, he said, you can run under his covering of majesty and hide. His arms of faithfulness are a shield, keeping you from harm. That is a blessing to know that no matter what you're going through, there is an assurance that you're protected. There's an assurance that in your moments of weakness, there is someone who cares about you. And it could be in the form of family and friends, who I call angels. Really, God uses that as angels. And it says, he will never have to, verse 5 says, the part of the hidden strength is you never have to worry about an attack of demonic forces at night, nor have a fear or have to fear a spirit of darkness coming against you. So, verse 6 says, don't fear a thing. Don't be afraid. It may not make sense to you what's going on around you. It may be overwhelming right now, but please do not be afraid. Because he says, whether by night or by day, any demonic danger will not trouble you, nor powers of evil that has been launched against you. So maybe you're just feeling very overwhelmed. God is saying, do not fear a thing. Even in a time of disaster, with thousands and thousands being killed, you will remain unscathed and unharmed. I was thinking about the folks in Eastern Europe right now and with what's going on there. And our prayer is with them, that even as the things happening around them, God will send angels to protect them, all of them. And I think I can't even imagine parents there that have special needs children, how they're carrying them out of that place. I know that it's only God that will protect them. It said in verse 8, you will be a spectator as the wicked perish in judgment, for they will pay back for what they've done. And it says, when we live with our lives within the shadow of the God Most High, our secret hiding place, we will always be shielded from harm. How could evil prevail against us and disease infect us? Because God sends angels with special orders to protect you and I wherever we go, defending us from all harm. So it says, if you walk into a trap, those angels will be there for you, keeping you from stumbling. I believe that this is a word of encouragement for us today. I believe that it's a word to empower us. It says, you will even walk unharmed among the fiercest powers of darkness, trembling every one of them underneath your feet. For here's what the Lord has spoken to you and I. He says, because you loved me and delighted in me and have been loyal to my name, I will greatly protect you. I will answer your cry for help every time you pray, and you feel my presence in your time of trouble. I will deliver you and bring you honor. I will satisfy you with a full life, and with all that I do for you, you will enjoy the fullness of my salvation. Okay, so that was a very long passage, but I hope that there are elements of it that you can pull from it, because this is what I've been meditating on. Anytime I just feel like, wow, I can't make a decision, I don't know what to do, I take a step back and say, let me pull back. Today was one of those days where I said, I just need to take a step back and look at that. All the things I need to do, write it down. I wrote it down. And I haven't done most of it, maybe one or two, made one or two phone calls, but the act of writing down what I needed was what released strength back into me. Can you imagine? Just because sometimes it's in your head and it's running in there, running in there, running in there. And you're like, oh my God, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do that. I got to do that. And you're thinking about it, but we know this to be factual. The moment you release what's in the brain onto paper, you've basically created real estate in your head. Now free, so your body is less tense. Your mind is not trying, because I think part of it is that your mind is trying to ensure that you don't forget it. right? But in the moment you write it down, it moves into another category. And all of a sudden, there's a sense of peace, which is the other part of what I was going to talk about today. So first is we're hidden in the strength of God. And how do we do that? Is because we meditate on the things he's told us, his promises that he will keep us from harm, his promises that he will protect our loved ones. Many of us are especially concerned about our loved ones when we're not here, right? The best we can do is prepare for them as best as we can. The best we can do is put things in place as best as we can. And the rest of it is really God who's going to take care of it. Because guess what? We are all going to face death one day. The question is, have you prepared for what happens when you leave the side of eternity? Have you thought about that? And that's really, really what I want to throw out there. Think about preparing for the future. Prepare for the future today. That's really it. I want to throw it out there to our parents. Do you have a will? You should have one. Do you have an advance directive? You should have one. Do not wait for emergencies before you're now trying to have this conversation. What happens when I leave this side of eternity? Are you prepared for what happens? Very important. And so part of that is knowing that God is creating mechanisms for us to really be assured of that. And you just have to put your faith in Jesus Christ, and you could be assured that you have peace, which is the other part of my conversation today. I told you that I was thinking about it, and God says, you are hidden in my strength, and you're guarded by my peace. Wow. Okay. What does that mean? Well, many of us sometimes have sleepless nights because we're thinking about all the things we need to do, or all the things we are beyond our control that we can't do anything about. And if it's beyond your control, why are you worrying about it? Right? So I went into the other text, and this particular text is from Philippians, and it's from chapter 4, from 4 to 9. And I'm going to read the New International Version. Yes. And I titled as part of my conversation, Walking in God's Peace. So I just want to stay in his peace, right? And the text says, rejoice in the Lord always. And I will say it again, rejoice, meaning find means to rejoice about everything. Look for the small things. I remember when we used to do the physical support groups, and families would come together and like, oh my God, my 8-year-old is not potty trained. And all of us would just start clapping. For some of you who would probably like, why would you be clapping for an 8-year-old who finally got potty trained? Well, some kids develop at a different stage and they're delayed. And so when they catch up, we celebrate. And for some of those parents, I'm like, celebrate, clap your hands, rejoice, because it's a big deal. So if you're listening to me and your child is 6, 7, and it's not potty trained yet because, neurologically, they're not able to, and from many, many reasons, sometimes we see it's a sensory issues. There's a number of things going on with them. Don't give up. Just keep practicing, just keep pressing. Talk to your occupational therapist, your ABA therapist, your other interventional approaches there. Sometimes it's even just the food we're feeding them. There are many, many, and I'm going tangential here, but the point is that we choose to celebrate all the time. So it says rejoice. And then it continues and says, let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is admirable, whatever is lovely, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you've learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and God The God of peace will be with you. Okay, so in this text, which many of us, some of us love it because it says, don't be anxious about anything, meaning that don't let the fear, don't let the anxiety overwhelm you. But in everything, just say, God, I just trust and I thank you. Even sometimes if the situation hasn't changed, but your attitude towards it is what needs to change. And when your attitude changes, no matter how seems overwhelming it may be, this is when the peace of God comes. And here it says the peace which transcends all understanding will guard. That's why I said guarded in the peace of God. And I thought about guard and I'm like, wow, how does it guard? It guards my heart from anxiety. It guards my mind from getting overwhelmed and depressed and, feeling less than and seeing the future as bleak. That, when I think about the things I need to be grateful about, it enables me to have peace. Peace like a river that attends my soul, if you know that song. I was going to sing, but I won't do that. I think I should stick to talking. But sometimes one needs to think about the things that brings us such peace and such joy. And walking in God's peace is what I've determined to walk in this season, where transition has come and I'm still trying to help navigate the entire family, particularly my son, through it. And being okay and not having all the answers right now and taking it day by day, but believing that all things will work together for the good, because it always does. I think back to when he was 2.5 and we saw regression in language and in communication and in behaviors. And we were like, what's going to happen? And then all of a sudden, day in and day out, you go to a simple, I remember meeting one of my very good friends now, Wendy, at a school meeting. We went to parents-teachers meetup. And afterwards, we stood in a parking lot and she was telling me all the things she was doing with her son. And that gave me such hope that night. My life has never been the same. You look back and you think about people who have changed your life. She was one of them. And one of the things she just simply told me was the role of diet and the dietary interventions and the food that the child is eating that was making him cry at night because he was in so much pain. He was getting heartburn and I didn't know of it because he was nonverbal. He couldn't tell me he was in pain. Changing the diet translated into no pain and sleepless, and going from sleepless night to sleeping at night. I remember that, and that was 18 years ago. And at the time, I was just like, wow, I was so overwhelmed with, don't know, can't understand why this child was not stop crying and tantruming and all the stuff that was happening. Can you imagine a simple dietary intervention changed completely that whole journey? Sometimes is that moment of crying out and say, when I read that text earlier in Psalm 91, it says, when you cry out for help, every time you pray, you will feel my presence. Well, for me, the presence came from meeting a woman in a parking lot who was telling me about what she was doing for her son and the changes and the impact it was doing in her life. That was it. That's how God answers us. Sometimes it's just casual conversation. So my kids always laugh. I tell them I'm very shy. And they laugh when I say that. So, and I know you, was it? Yeah, I think I was telling both of them the other day that I'm super shy. And they're like, yeah, right. Well, I can be sometimes. And sometimes my older daughter's like, absolutely no way. I am shy. I'm shy from the standpoint that I try to keep to my corner for the most part. But this journey has taught me to have to be more vocal. So I used to, if you've ever done the Myers-Briggs, I think I latched onto it when they said I'm an introvert. And I realized I'm an introvert in certain settings. And when I need to be vocal, I need to be on stage or I need to be somewhere, that's when I just get energized. And then the rest of the time, I could be at home all day and I'll be fine. It's surprising to people when I say that, but sometimes we even have to take in a deep breath. But I digress to say this, that at the end of the day, we can be a source of encouragement to someone by talking to them. So when I get to different places and I have an opportunity to talk to people, I do, and just say, hey, tell me more about what you're doing. You never know, because that's what happened that night. I went to just a parent-teacher conference and came home inspired, energized. I got all these books. I started reading it, and it began the journey. So if you wanted to know that part of the genesis for how my goal got started, it was from that. It was the fact that somebody gave me a word of encouragement through what she was doing, her personal journey, that lit the fire underneath me. And today, here I stand. And as I've hit us another patch in the transition period, I'm talking to other parents who are also sharing with me what they're doing with their kid, their loved ones, not a kid anymore. They're young adult, and I'm learning from it and hope to be able to share more here. I pray and hope that what I'm sharing here is encouragement to someone. I know that the journey is not the easiest, but I believe that you have what it takes to keep going and pressing. And the goal here is that you could be hidden in the strength of God, and you could be guarded by his peace, knowing that he will bring it all together. So I got a couple of points I want to raise and just throw it out there. One is determine to walk in God's peace. Say, I'm going to walk in the peace of God. I'm not going to fret. I'm not going to be anxious. I'm not going to do things that is beyond my control. I'm going to do one thing at a time. That's one. Remember, and then number two, remember that God has promised you that he will guard your heart and mind with his peace. So rely on his peace. Peace means, it's the presence of having God in your life that says, he got you. He got your back. You send angels, call people, friends, neighbors, strangers who can even be a blessing to you. He will cause them to be a blessing to you. So have peace about that. And finally, when the challenges and anxiety come, which I promise you they will, write down and think about what your preferred outcome is going to be. Don't speak out the problem and repeat it over and over and over. Think about what would you like the outcome to look like and start to speak that into being. Say that my child will be fine. My child will get into college or wherever you want them to go. They will be successful. This is what I call affirmations. These are words that you speak out and you start to see them come to pass. So I hope and pray that this is empowering you some way, somehow. If not, at least I'm talking to myself and I'm empowered by it. I know that everything in life that when we face it, it is preparing us for the next step on the next leg of the journey. And no matter what you're going through, you will get through this one. That is the word for you, that you are hidden in the strength and the power of God. His peace is yours. So I want you to put on a piece like a cap, like a hat. So just picture having a hat and put it on your head and you say, that's my peace. And I'm putting it on my head. And as I carry that, whatever's going on in my life right now is going to work out. It will come together. Whatever challenges you have, whatever issues that you're going through, it will work out. So that's the joy that I want to share today. But I also want to just kind of remind us all, April is Autism Awareness, Autism Acceptance Month. What that means is that we draw attention to the fact that there are a lot of children who need extra support. That's all it is. They need extra attention. They need different strategies in teaching them. We need to do things differently with them. We need to be patient with them. We need to look for strategies to help them bring out the gifting that's in them. That's the goal. it is not just to say I'm accepting a label. It's saying I need to put on supports for these individuals. And so at my goal, we celebrate that. We recognize that we are a gateway to overcoming autism. And the gateway is through being connected to resources. The gateway is getting your understanding that there's hope. There's hope in this journey. You know that. And come alongside with me, and I promise you, you will experience peace that goes beyond human understanding. That peace is yours. So you need to take it up and put it on your hat, put it on your head, rather. So we're going to be doing there's two major announcements I want to make about that. One is we have our grant program that's ongoing right now. Is a My Goal Autism Family Grant. Applications are being accepted through April 30th. And we will be selecting 25 families, and we'll give them $1,000 each. In amount of $25,000. Yay, I'm super excited about that. How do we do this? We do this and give out these resources. And this is for families in the continental United States only. So for those of you who may be watching me outside of the United States, please understand that this is the money raised for this particular program is intended for those in the United States. We do programming outside of the US, but for this particular instance, the grant money is for individuals in the continental United States. So please let them know about it. Go to mygoalinc.org, mygoalinc.org, mygoalinc.org. We're accepting applications. Last year, if you recall, we gave out $20,000. And we've, every year our vision is to grow. Our vision is to make impact. Our vision is to change lives. Our vision is to impact the lives of these individuals. And it really is part of the desire in my heart that we will come alongside with families, not just to provide education, but to also provide tangible resources that they can help their loved ones with. So please check it out. Don't be shy. We have I'm not on the committee. I'm just a facilitator. I have an amazing team of professionals with different diverse backgrounds who are on the committee, and they really are sensitive about the information that's shared, and we make sure that that information doesn't go out beyond what we're entrusted to do with it. So please, if you know families that you believe that it should be eligible, mygoalinc.org. Sana, if you can put it out on there, type it out for us so people can grab that website. The other announcement is that on April 24th, we're going to have our annual My Goal. I'm going to share my screen for a minute. We're going to have our annual autism event. This is our Bowling for Autism event that we're going to have on Sunday. So it's Sunday, April 24th, if you're in New Jersey. We're going to be moving to a new location. We're going to be in Woodbridge, New Jersey, Central Jersey. Our place where we've been going for 12 years until the pandemic has closed, unfortunately. We had a nice little partnership with the Stelton Lanes. They've turned it into a grocery store, believe it or not, unfortunately. So we're moving to a new location. But the resources raised here goes to support the individuals that we were talking about, the grant programs that we do. I just see ourselves as an opportunity to be a source of help. And you can partner with us to do that. You can bowl with us. You can donate. We have different levels of sponsorships. If you're interested to be that, mygoalinc.org, that's where you can find it. We also showing you the QR code here so you can scan it. You can Venmo us at My Goal Autism. You can do PayPal at My Goal. You can Zelle us at info@mygoalinc.org, or you can go on our website and donate. We're looking for partners in changing lives and making people's lives better. You know who we are. If we are a trusted source, we've done it for 14 years. and continue to do more. So if you're listening to me and you chanced upon it, I'm inviting you to partner with my goal, to partner with me so that we can continue to make lives better for those who need our support. So join us on the month of April in spreading awareness and getting the word out, because our families need the support. So this is one of the many things that we are doing in the month of April. I was going to say August. No, I don't want to skip over spring completely like that. So that's going to be part of what we're doing this month. So I just want to invite you to donate, to sponsor, to register for this event. In the previous years, because of the pandemic, we were virtual. Now we're going back to actually physically bowling again. So we want you to join us, but we know that it's going to be an impactful, exciting program, and we'd love to see you. So if you register in advance, it's $15 for adult and $12 for children. On site will be a little higher for the adults. Obviously, we want to encourage you to pre-register in advance. So once again, I just want to say thank you for making my goal the trusted organization, a 501c3 nonprofit organization that brings resources, that brings education, that empowers, that instructs, that provides hope to families all across. Beyond the bowling, we also have a couple of programs we're going to be doing. And on April 10th, it's our Ask the Expert series. We're going to be talking with Rebecca Zegas, who is a BCBA, a board certified behavioral analyst. She's going to work with us to continue our New to Autism Parent series. For those international, we've partnered with another organization in Gambia, Africa, and we're going to be doing some training and programming, and there's a lot of exciting stuff that's coming up for Haven International, which is our daughter organization that's 10 years old and is doing an amazing work in Ghana and spreading its wings to Liberia and to Gambia. So this is all part of what my goal was always about, to restore hope and restore families. And we've been able to do that because of supporters like you. So once again, thank you. And as I've shared with us tonight, we're going to hide in the strength of God, and we're going to hide in his strength, and we're going to be guarded by his peace. And I know that you will be able to rest on that word until next month. So I want to thank you for joining us. Share this link with others. Perhaps someone who's going through one thing or the other. Encourage them. I shared the two texts, Psalm 91, reading from the Passion Translation, the Amplified Version, and then I also shared Philippians chapter 4. I believe that is what God has impressed on my heart. That's what I've been praying about. That's what I've been thinking about. And that's what I've been resting my faith on. And I want you to join your faith with mine and continue to just press on and press in and stay focused. Don't give up and don't give in, because you're going to make it through. So I want to say thank you for joining us tonight. I am always so excited to have you join us and share the link. And we will see you next month in all things. All right, awesome. All right, Ron Kids, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.